In the distant past, back in 2019, I got the chance to try snorkeling in Egypt. I admit I was enchanted. I decided I'd try it again someday. But in the back of my mind, I knew that snorkeling does limit you in some ways. I know many would say the real limit is strapping a tank on your back. But I'm no longer a young sports titan who will seek underwater freedom that way. I need something realistically achievable for me. You know, that long, weightless glide over gorgeous scenery, hanging in the blue like an astronaut in orbit, and all those sea creatures around me. I pondered for a long time how to approach it. Maybe book something while on vacation, or find some clever workaround. Game the system on the cheap. Hey, this is life we're talking about, not a hack job. I decided to do it properly. I did a basic certification course in some boggy pond, and I chose to go to Egypt with one of the Polish dive centers. And I'm about to tell you all about it. I must admit, I still had some concerns before leaving. What if I get eaten by, say, some sharks and other sea monsters? Or maybe that's not the issue. Maybe deep down there, I just panic. Be afraid of I don't know what. After all, water is such an alien environment. And with all these worries, I checked in at the airport with the group. Not even a 7-hour flight delay could spoil our mood. On the bright side, it gave us time to get to know each other a bit. After another 4.5 hours, we land in sunny Egypt. There's still a 90-minute transfer to Dahab. Because of these minor hiccups, we check into the hotel not for dinner but for breakfast. And we're pretty sleep deprived. At dawn, after a 40-minute nap, the briefing starts anyway. Most of the staff is from a local dive operator. The local Center Planet divers, one of the biggest in Dahab, can handle a huge number of divers at once. Each of us gets a crate for our dive gear to look after, and after diving we stash our kit back in it. The center has several vehicles that shuttle groups to various dive sites. But the first dive will be literally a few steps from the hotel. Those first breaths underwater are stressful for me. Did I forget everything? Hard to forget something you never really knew in the first place. But after a moment it's all fine. How could you not be fascinated by such a world? And then life forms start appearing. And what forms? Even though we're really close to the hotels, 3 steps past a restaurant, you can still encounter all these wonders. Masses of colorful fish. Just like in those commercials you usually don't believe. And here comes a menacing moray eel. Remember, you mustn't touch anything underwater to help ensure that Egypt bans the use of gloves while diving, so you're not tempted. Besides, I'm not giving that critter a finger anyway. Many people hearing about diving fear sharks, but they're very rare here, and incidents rarer still. In fact, no one even brings them up. Other marine life isn't particularly aggressive. On the contrary, you need to avoid spooking them. If we're lucky, we might meet huge sea turtles, for example. They're not on every corner here. You won't run into them every time, but every few dives you do, and it's always rewarding. Despite total lack of sleep, in our euphoria, we do 3 dives today. Time to wrap up, and since we're right by the beach, we surface among the swimmers. Each dive site here is described in detail in guidebooks that are available pretty much everywhere. But in practice, we dive with a local guide assigned to our team. And they're true professionals. There's one thing they won't do for us though. After diving, you must rinse everything carefully, sort your gear and hang things to dry, and of course pack your crate neatly. Only then are you free. In the afternoon, depending on taste and fatigue, you can indulge in refined pleasures or simply relax at the hotel. The next day, our destination is a site outside town. The center staff loads our tanks and gear onto the trucks and off we go. The place we arrive at is quite nice. A row of seaside restaurants where we've got comfy booths reserved. Camels passing by every minute are, alas, these days mostly a tourist curiosity. Their once vital transport role in this region has faded. Our guide gives a briefing. We learn the dive plan and what interesting things we might see. We can even order lunch beforehand, so it's ready when we return. Into the water we go. There are supposed to be turtles here, but we're not lucky today, though there really are some underwater meadows. My OWD group dives on air. Our dives last a little over half an hour. You can stretch them by a few minutes by paying a small fee for a 15-liter tank. Our certification allows us to 18 meters. I thought that would be absolutely enough. And that deeper, there's nothing that interesting anyway, since wrecks and such don't interest me. But here in Egypt, the water is so clear that at 18 meters, it's still bright and you see everything. Worse yet, you reach that depth fairly quickly, and you want to go further. But in many places, the attractions can only be admired from above. We'll come back to that. Meanwhile, the food arrives. Food prices in Egypt are quite affordable for a Polish wallet. The quality is decent too, though an upset stomach still feels guaranteed. Our third dive today is at a place called the Caves. We just barely make it. The waves are pretty big. The main challenge here is stepping off the reef edge so the waves don't throw you back onto it. We descend through a very scenic gorge, and we loop around at 18 meters. The reef isn't particularly stunning here, though of course only compared to even prettier ones in Egypt. Not the site's main attraction. True to the name, right where we entered, there are caves, and not just tiny niches. The bigger one goes at least 30 meters in under the beach. Watch your head in there. What's more, a fierce barracuda guards the entrance. Luckily, everyone swims their own way. All that's left for us is to scramble onto the ledge without getting bashed. Did we manage? We did. Dawn of day 3, barely sunrise, and we're already up. One of the local, somewhat crazy drivers takes us north this time. All around are Egyptian projects. You can't tell if they're building or tearing down. Turns out not every dive site has those nice restaurants. Conditions aren't exactly Spartan, but not as good as yesterday. We prep our gear in full sun. Today's target is the canyon. But first we swim along the reef, and it's quite beautiful. What colors! along the shore, and crucially at the lagoon exit, there's a strong current. It'll be quite a challenge on the way back. So this dive is planned to be a bit shorter, at least for us. Eventually we reach the canyon area. Numerous bubbles rising as if from nowhere straight out of the reef are the air from divers inside the canyon. And this is where we hit our OWD limits. The canyon entrance sits at 22 to 23 meters, meaning we can only look from above. Maybe doing the advanced is worth it. Thankfully, the more advanced divers in our group also have a camera. So let's peek into the canyon. It's quite long and quite spectacular, and quite popular too. Which is to say, it gets crowded. Fortunately, there's enough room to pass comfortably. This dive is more complex and I won't play expert. It's above my skill level. On this trip, the rules are respected, and everyone makes sure not to dive beyond their limits. Today, my group does only 2 dives. For the record, 2 are included. Extra dives cost extra, which brings us to another topic. There are 26 people on the camp, across many levels. So there are plenty of courses and trainings going on. Some finish OWD, some learn to dive on enriched air, nitrox, some do advanced, some do deep. Doesn't mean they spend the whole trip with noses in books, but studying is definitely worth it. You might say we all die ignorant anyway, but maybe that's exactly why we don't die, at least not yet. On day 4, as usual at dawn, we set off. Gear loaded, now we pile into the jeep. The locals' approach to workplace safety? Well, now let's call it unique. This time it's a short ride to the port. A thorough inspection awaits us. They even sniff soda bottles, checking for alcohol. And we head to the boat. Oh, this one's ours. Quite pleasant aboard. It's a 2-hour cruise. The boat isn't huge, but it has all the comforts we need to be happy. So some keep studying, others relax. Diving from a boat you live on, what this center calls a diving safari, is said to be the nicest way to dive. Everything at hand, full service. But sadly, pricier than shore diving. Which brings us to a problem. I haven't been showered with money, and this isn't cheap. So I'm already saving up for a possible next trip. It won't be easy. Meanwhile, we arrive. Someone's here already, but it's not crowded. Time to gear up. On a boat, it's easier. The crew helps. We don't wade in, we jump. The Gabr el Bint dive site lies roughly halfway between Dahab and Sharm el Sheikh. Those magnificent Gorgonians are just a teaser. The reef here is probably the prettiest of the whole trip. The tougher access also means there's no crowd. We cruise for a long while at about 5 to 6 meters through a wonderful coral garden. This shallow, sunlit lagoon sparkles with every color imaginable. Between the corals you see patches of beautiful clean sand. This is simply an Egyptian dream. Who wouldn't want to drift above such wonders? Only pity we don't see larger animals. Still amazing. Aside from us, only a few people from another boat are diving. Groups greet each other using dive signals. Like this one, meaning greetings, and it's awesome. Knowing these signals is a basic part of training. Since we're just levitating in the sun, a few words about temperatures. It's the second half of October. Air temperature is around 30 degrees. Warm but not scorching. Thanks to a cool wind, it blows quite hard. Water temperature is about 27, dropping to around 23 deeper. A 5mm wetsuit seems ideal. I'm not cold at all. Skinnier buddies start feeling chilly around the third dive. Such folks might consider bringing a hood. More experienced divers say water temps vary a bit. Sometimes cooler despite similar conditions. We're slowly wrapping up the dive. Then we repeat it. Only 2 dives today. The team didn't even bring extra tanks aboard. We climb back up the ladder. Before the return trip, we should eat something. Catering from the hotel came along. It's a lazy hour and a half, 2 hours back. Like a Polish art house movie. Nothing happens, no plot. Another attraction is night diving, done in the evening. The reef phosphoresces, they said. Far more fascinating creatures, they said. They exaggerated, if you ask me. At least in my opinion. The dive itself is certainly a fascinating experience, and no doubt educational. Those 2 words always appear in guides when they've nothing smarter to say. But does the reef look prettier at night? Matter of taste? To me, no, not really. Sure, you can hunt for different creatures. We didn't get lucky. Since we swim only by torchlight, it's interesting how hand signals change. You can't do all of them exactly like in daylight. Otherwise, it's not particularly harder, unless you get lost. The most interesting part turned out to be the play of countless divers' lights. There were crowds of them, which was fine. The light show was beautiful on its own. For obvious logistics, the night dive took place on the nearest reef, close to the hotel. Another sunny morning, of course. We're heading to the area's biggest attraction. It's north of Dahab, not far, but beyond 2 checkpoints. Dahab isn't swamped with crowds, but the famous Blue Hole is an exception. On the surface and below, it teems with people. And not just free divers and scuba divers, also random tourists who came to soak their backsides. The Blue Hole is roughly 100 meters deep and about 50 meters across. A giant karst sinkhole. Its lower part connects to the open sea via a huge arch. And here, the fun part ends. The arch lies deeper than 50 meters. That's beyond recreational diving. Yet many go anyway without a training or skills. Hence nearly 200 fatalities over the last 30 years. In our group, only the old hands dive under the arch. With good training, solid experience, a clear plan and the right gas, diving doesn't have to be dangerous. We OWDs will do it the classic way. From the so-called bells to the Blue Hole, but near the surface. Bells is a narrow crack dropping almost vertically. The name supposedly comes from tanks clanging. We quickly reach our max depth of 18 meters and traverse along a vertical wall over the abyss toward the Blue Hole. This dive feels different. The reef here is arranged in an almost vertical wall. We finish our section and approach the so-called saddle, where at 6 to 7 meters the Blue Hole's basin connects above to the open sea. The coral here is uniquely beautiful. We gape spellbound, but since the dive's been going a while, we move on, admiring free divers descending along the line to serious depths. We surface in a crowd, then repeat the dive, moseying around the area. The third and final dive of the trip we do from a jetty, gliding above a canyon they call the Tiger Canyon, if I'm not mistaken. The reef here is of middling beauty, but there's absolutely no one around. We turn back at some huge underwater pillars, and on the way back an octopus bids us farewell. The next day we won't be diving. Rules are clear: no diving the day before your flight. So we bid the reef farewell. We've still got a ceremonial dinner held outdoors at a table by the pool, a chance to thank our hosts from the local dive center. And there's another important event. As I mentioned, several people finish their OWD course here. After that, you're simply a diver. Time for the traditional diver christening. It's gonna hurt. It did for me back in the day. On the last day, we treat ourselves to dessert, a desert trip. The goal is the so-called White and Colored Canyon. We head there by jeep over an hour north, and of course there are checkpoints. We leave the asphalt for desert sands. Interesting formations all around. The drivers turn it into a race. Fun, though not equally fun for everyone, especially on the bigger bumps. The trip surprised me a bit, in a good way. When I saw ads in Dahab saying take a canyon tour, I expected the usual. Air-conditioned bus, a crowd on the promenade, mandatory pottery demo with mandatory purchasing. But surprise, wild and atmospheric. We tick off a weird desert mushroom, judging by color and shape, a chanterelle maybe. And we reach a pretty interesting white canyon. Don't complain about safety measures in the Polish mountains. Here you slide down on the frayed core of a rope that's been in the sun for years. The canyon, at least the first part, is quite picturesque. Maybe not exactly white everywhere, but it's got that Lawrence of Arabia vibe. The car goes around. We walk for about an hour, leisurely at a stroll. I expected heat, but a cool breeze reaches here too. It'll be worse in the afternoon, but we'll be gone by then. Our guide is a class act, deserves a separate note. You know that ancient Egyptian joke, as they say, the electric chair doesn't threaten bad guides. During the whole trip, even when prodded, he squeezed out maybe 3 words. With the driver, though, he chatted non-stop. A very nice part of the trip is a visit to a Bedouin settlement. Sure, it's a bit tourist kitschy, but it's got charm. And again, no massive crowds. What can I say? I'm delighted with the trip. Diving turned out not stressful at all. The reefs were wonderful and the water warm. The whole thing also turned out very expensive. You end up paying extra at every step. A quick look at the price lists though says there isn't much to save on here. Everything must be done legally too. Each dive requires local permits. If you want to try, you don't have to jump straight into a course. Egyptian dive centers, like any others, will gladly take an interested tourist on a Discover Scuba dive. There were almost 30 of us. The youngest diver in my group was 16 and the oldest 80. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Andrzej. Thanks to all of you and warm regards. And greetings to the viewers who stuck it out till the end. Monkey politely ask now, please like and subscribe.